Welcome back, ladies and gents. It's Dicebag, and here's part 2 of my latest prototypes for Domain. And this time we're checking out the packs. Now, we got this stuff from a new printer this time called the Game Crafter. And the reason I wanted to switch to them is partly because they do randomized packs like this. And also, they're a little cheaper than the other guys I was using if you're going to be selling, like, through their online store, the print-on-demand thing. So, if I was to order things in bulk and just, ship them out myself and make my own online store, then the previous printer would probably be cheaper. But that's something I don't really want to deal with if I don't have to. So these have, this website has a kind of lower standard price for their print-on-demand stuff, so it'll be cheaper for the players to get the stuff, and I'll actually make more money off of it in the long run. So, looking at their packs, I can tell you, I'm gonna have to rethink the design for this. I'll probably just put in like the entire full art instead of doing like a cutout without the background. I thought that would look better, but really it has the same problem that Magic does with their foil cards, in that it doesn't show up very well when it's placed over foiling. So maybe we'll pick a lighter picture or something like that, or whatever. Besides that, I'm surprised at how floppy and loose these packs are. I was not expecting that to be the case. But they do have this little pull tab right here, which is kind of nice. So I don't think these would be very easy to get into, because they're not exactly made like normal booster packs. Okay, we'll just tear right into it. There's definitely more heavy-duty paper on the outside. Okay, and we'll see what we got. Now, first of all, these things, the booster pack ones, are kind of like a supplemental thing. These are specifically for collectability. The normal cards that are just, regular black bordered stuff, those are going to be sold in pre-constructed decks exclusively, and it'll be kind of like a living card game or expandable card game where there's not really any randomness to go on. You can just buy the deck with whatever cards you want and then combine with whatever else you want as well. But this is a little thing I've been testing out for the collectible aspect of the game. So the idea is to just have something that's a little more premium, and I wanted to have foils, but the Game Crafter doesn't have foil cards as an option, so that's kind of out the window. And I went with a gold border on this. Obviously I'm gonna have to tweak the design because the beveling effect I use doesn't look very good on these. But I've got some more ideas about what kind of stuff we can do. This is just kind of a placeholder to make them look different than the others. Anyways, we'll go through. We got Conjured Tempest here. This is basically your lightning bolt, except that it can't win you the game by killing your opponent. That's actually a thing that I thought was okay on lightning bolt, but in this context with Domain, where your life is tracked by just 5 territories, and that's it. You don't have a life total that starts at like 20. 3 damage to 1 territory is a lot. So I made it so it couldn't hit territories. That's a big sticking point right there. Urban Sprawl, crappy playtest art, unfortunately. I got some better stuff. I licensed a few pieces for a lot of the territories I had, because the Game Crafter has quite a few good looking environmental pieces, so this will look better in the final version. Anyways, it's a territory, so it's basically a extra life. It's got a 0-4, so it's pretty chunky, and when you deploy it, you have to sacrifice another territory. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Whenever you lose one of your starting territories that are just your face down cards, they go to your hand. So this is basically like you replace a 0-2 with a 0-4, and then you get an extra card to replace it. And Red Ridge Peak. This is another territory, obviously a 0-4, but it's a strategic, so it can't be, you can't activate its abilities on your opponent's turn or anything like that. And it's got this basically game-winning ability that you can pump out turn after turn to really take your opponent down. But since it's a territory, it's vulnerable to attack, so you've got to protect it. This is basically your Death Star right here. It'll blow up planets, but it's vulnerable to getting hit. And wow, another territory. I didn't think there were that many in here to get so many in once. Fortified border, we saw that in the last one. Face down territories you control get +0, +1, so it buffs them up to a 0-3, just makes them harder to take down. And Sapling Nurturer, this is the new race I've been working on. The Trell, which are basically tree people, and Trell is a portmanteau of tree and troll I just came up with. So these guys are one of the main green races, and let's see, he's a 3/3 for 4, and he has the ability to field additional basic unit Trells as tokens. So he's a fun one for a token deck. And the Human Agent, more playtest art. It's your basic unit for the black this time. There will be more for different colors in the future, but this is the starting one. And bugs me that I forgot to put basic in front of unit when I made the frames. Anyways, I think each pack I specifically designated to have 2 basic units in it. So there's our one. And Vernus Spirit, playtest art again. Trample, he's got water weakness. Also, he's got the keyword fire here. So for things like water weakness and things like that, they key off kind of the damage and stuff. So this is basically like a reverse death touch mechanic. If he takes any damage from a water source, then he's just dead no matter what. So that's a little thing that'll help me balance out the power of the cards with drawbacks and stuff like that. So he doesn't have to have like a colorless resource mode or anything. And Orc Pikeman, more playtest art. 4 supplies for 4/2. He's got initiative, so that's basically first strike. And he's got the double color black and red resource mode. And another territory, Military Forge. This is basically an Anthem type of card. It's a 0/3 and gives you guys +1/+0. So good for aggressive stuff, but pretty vulnerable to getting attacked. Eastport Docks. Now that art's gonna get changed. It's way too dark. Anyways, another territory. Well, I gotten lots of territories in this pack. Anyways, units and artifacts you play cost 1 less. That's basically simulate, free trade, getting things for cheaper. And there's our other basic unit. The concept art I threw on there looks pretty good on card size. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to keep it on there, but it's good to see that my kind of basic quickie doodles are actually not bad on card size, so I'll probably be doing more of those. Anyways, he looks pretty good. And of course, this is the guy that you'll be getting out of his ability. So that's a little tidbit. And Abyssal Gatekeepers. Now here's another guy with weakness. Lightning weakness this time because he's water and he's a djinn. A lot of the flavor I'm working on is not going to be kind of standard fantasy flavor, like you can see the djinn are not your typical dudes with swirly bottoms of wind or anything with scimitars and stuff. There's a lot of lore stuff behind all this, but that's something for another thing. Anyways, these guys are some nice beefy beaters for cheap, but they got the weakness, so you gotta watch out for that. And Sunburn, more playtest art. It's basically removal, deals 2 damage and expends a unit. So it's a good way to slow down a big creature or kill a smaller one. And even more territories. Abundant Wilds. I got good new art for this one too. So this one's just a 0/2. Has deploy and look at the top card of your deck, and then you may field it as an expended resource. So it's a little bit of ramp ability. And that's one of the interesting things. Like when I took out life points from the game and made it less like Magic and like implemented the whole territory system, that opened up a lot of design space in a way that it also kind of closed up a lot. Like I used to have things in the game that were basically, you know, lifelink and stuff like that because you just have life totals and you could adjust things like this card deals 2 damage and this card does the same thing but it deals 3 damage, but you can't really do that when you don't have as much room to play with. But the territory system opened up a lot of design space in other ways, and also the resource system. Since everything can be used as a resource, you're not going to be really searching your deck to find a resource. That would be really strong. Of course, there will probably be a card that does that at some point, but this is just a basic ramp spell, basically. So you only get to look at the top card, and then, you know, if you want it as a resource, you can use it. And if you want to play it, then you probably should leave it on top and not play it as a resource. There's a lot of decision making that goes into this game. And it's got a, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little bit of, what is that? I'm kind of disappointed in the quality of the cards. They're not quite up to snuff as the last ones. You can see a lot of them are kind of chopped off at the bottom. I'll be definitely tweaking the files for these in the future. And the last one of this pack, Battlefield Salvage. Choose up to 3 unit or artifact cards in your scrapyard with a combined total cost of 5 or less and field them. So that's basically a way to recover from a board wipe or something. And let's dive into the next one. Oh, these packs are not ideal. I will say that. And maybe the pull tabs aren't the best way to open these things. So next one, we got Sinkhole. Not Sinkhole, Sinkhole. Okay, so this one lets you destroy a unit or a face-up territory. So it's good for removal if you've got something like, say, a Red Ridge Peak that's about to start busting your units and territories, and you have to get rid of it no matter what. But it can't really deal with the smaller ones that you start the game with because it specifies face-up. And Silk Rider Cavalry. Now this is a little flavor one. In the region of the world that this game works in, there's some tribal elves in one of the areas that ride basically they tame and use giant spiders that live in the forest as kind of like their, their mounts, their pack animals, their livestock and stuff like that. So this is a little bit of a flavor card. It's going to be hard to find art for this though, because I'm not good at drawing spiders. I'll say that right now. And I haven't found any one specific artist that really has shown that they can do art of spiders like this or whatever. We'll see what we can do. But it's a 4/4 for 4. It's got ranged and trample. So range is basically reach. So it can block your flyer guys and it can deal some damage. We've got another Red Ridge Peak. Well, if I was doing a draft or a sealed pool, I'd probably be putting these in my game. In a mercenary contract, this one fields 2 human agent tokens when you play it. It's an artifact, so it stays in play. I don't know why it has the transmutation. I'm gonna have to take that off. That's not supposed to be there. Anyways, for 3 supplies, you can give your basic units +1/+1 till end of turn. That's all basic units, and you can do it as long as you have enough supplies to keep doing it. So you could conceivably spend 6 supplies a turn and beef your basic units up by a 2/2 each turn. That can be pretty devastating if you've got the resources to do it. And that's one of the things I wanted to do to keep basic units playable, because they're typically pretty underpowered for their cost and power and toughness. But things like this should make them useful in some capacity. And Toxic Mist, this is a little bit of a board wipe or control spell. Form supplies, deals 2 damage to each unit that target player controls, and it spend each unit dealt damage this way. So it's both usable as a board wipe, for a one-sided board wipe specifically for small creatures, or it can just be used to tap all their creatures and swing with your own. So he's quite good if you know how to play it. And there we got one of our basic units, the Orcish Incanter. Just a 2/2 for 2. Foil Spell. I like that art, one of my own pieces. Didn't take very long, thankfully. Esport Infiltrator. Again, playtest art. 3 supplies for 2/3. And he has this special ability: when it destroys a face-down territory, that card goes to the scrapyard instead of its owner's hand. So it's a little bit like a, what would you call that? A Hypnotic Spectre type of card. He's a little weak. He doesn't have evasion though, so I went ahead and beefed him up with a little extra resource power there. So I think he's pretty good right now. And we got the Orc Pikeman. We saw that a little bit ago. Abundant Wilds again, and another Trail Defender. Scrying Crystal. Again, one of my favorite artworks so far on these cards. One of my own, unfortunately. Well, I shouldn't say that. The ones I commissioned are my favorites, because they actually look good at any size. Anyways, this is a pretty strong guy. Not mana. We don't have mana here. Stop saying that. 2 supplies. And at the end of your turn, look at the top card of your deck. You may put it on the bottom of the deck. Let you scry every turn. And in a pinch, you can sacrifice it for 3 supplies and draw 2 cards. And Gold Bottom Garrison. You can see Castle Grayskull has a little butt there. Anyways, this is a token generator. For a couple supplies, you can field a Dwarven Spearman. And he's basically just a 1/1 white creature. And here we have our Pathos of Conflict. Now, like I was saying, we don't exactly go with standard fantasy flavor and all the things here. This is an angel, but they're not like the magic angels, definitely. They are heavily symbolism based and all that in their appearance. You can see he's got, what is that? head shaped like a rhinoceros. He's got swords coming out of him. He's got a giant axe. What are those? Flail ball chains and balls coming out of his body. Yeah. And then mining crew. He's your basic ramp unit. I wanted to take this type of ramp out of green in my game because I feel like flavor-wise, white would be the one to do this style of ramp. Now you see, of course, green does have ramp, but in a different manner. And so does black. Now I know I had a port somewhere, or docks, whatever. Eastport docks. These are the three style of ramp, and you can see they're in three different colors, obviously. Now black has cost reduction to represent like efficiency and free market stuff and stuff like that. That's kind of their civilizational philosophy. Green is more about, you know, creating more resources and all that. So that's why they can just plop down additional resources into your pool. And mining crew is about just straight up manpower and, you know, industry and stuff like that. So they have abilities that actually simulate what a resource would do and add supplies directly to your stock themselves. So those are the three styles we have going on. Now let's go to the last one. Hopefully I don't have to spend as much time talking about this. Oh geez. You're gonna make it hard on me, aren't you? Ooh, these are not friendly to be opened. Let's see what we got. Assassin's Blade. I bet you think that's playtest art? That's probably playtest art. Yep. It's a basic equipment type of weapon. Goes +1, +0, deadly, and gets poison subtype. A lot of equipment give subtypes, so that's a way to kind of circumvent the fact that you don't have like creatures of a specific type when you need to exploit something's weakness. And there we have Young Thunderbird. That's actually a finger painting on my phone. It turned out pretty good, I must say. I'll probably keep that piece. It's not perfect, but I like it. Anyways, he's a 2/2 for 2 with flying, pretty basic. He's got lightning, so he can, you know, deal with the djinns on the other side of the table if you need to. And crumble. Destroy target artifact or territory. Obviously, this is a thing you hold back to wipe out something at the end of the game that you just can't get to. You can't get to that last territory because you guys got a big board, but she's only got one. So you slap down a crumble and blast it to smithereens. Or you can just use it to get rid of an annoying artifact or whatever. Speaking of artifacts, Elixir of Giant Strength. This one's a quick artifact. I don't think I've mentioned the quick type before, but it's basically like an instant speed, but it can be applied to any card, any kind of card. And so it lets you play the card directly from your hand at pretty much any time. So this can be a little bit of a surprise. And you pay 1 and sacrifice it to give something +3/+3 in trample. And we got another Nurturer. We've seen that before. And the Agent. And Deepwood Guardians. Another beefy guy with weakness. Not much to say about that. Military Forge. Well, you've seen it already. And Burning Volley. Let's see. Quick spell for 2. Deals 2 damage to target unit or territory. So that's another one you can use to take down a last territory. Only deals 2 damage though, so you're stuck at wiping out some of the smaller ones. That's why it only costs 2, as opposed to the 3 that crumble costs. And the Infiltrator again. And Norton Cantor. Mercenary Contract. Elven Sentinels. Now this is probably my favorite piece of art. This was commissioned, of course. Art is called Claysense. I'm not exactly sure how to spell that off the top of my head, but she's pretty good, but she's closed for commissions right now. Dang it. I went for like 3 months thinking I should commission her again for more stuff, and now she's closed, and I can't do it. Oh well, I got a couple pieces out of her, and they're nice. Hopefully she'll open back up before I finish off with my own crappy art. Anyways, Eastport Docks and Fortified Border for the last one. So that's a good chunk of cards. What is this? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. 45 cards. So I guess they were 15 card packs. I thought I had less, but whatever. Anyways, the thing about we got going on here, obviously I put the gold borders on to kind of differentiate them from the standard cards, but in the final product there would be a lot more than that. I was trying out some effects before, like obviously I can't have foils and stuff, but there's certain effects you can apply to the actual card image itself that kind of mimic that effect, and I found some nice looking ones. There's also the fact that I want to have different rarities, so these are basically all one rarity right now, and the idea is to have every card at each rarity but have different versions of it at each one. So that's going to be a very future thing that I'm going to deal with. I'll have to commission, you know, a good chunk of new art, and a lot of it's going to be, I think one of the rarities is just going to be straight up full art. Let you know, like how Pokemon does it, the good way, where it's the entire card is artwork and it just has text over it. That'll probably be one of them. I'm also looking at some effects that have use like blending and stuff like that to kind of put little patterns on the text boxes and stuff like that. They look pretty nice. And also there's one on the, like right on the artwork that gives a cool effect. I tried it on this one and boy, it looks pretty nice. So that's something to look forward to. So I hope you'll keep watching these, and thanks for watching this one. I hope you'll keep coming back to check out Domain, and don't forget to leave some info and leave comments and subscribe and click the bell and all that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.